Welcome to the channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Ash. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. And today we are going to discuss episode 4 of the original L Word retro react, going all the way back to the mid 2000s. And I also have a little bit extra today, as yesterday I came across a script of Generation Q's pilot, which has some pretty big, not huge, but there's a lot of scenes that have been changed between obviously them doing the pilot script and it being put on the airwaves on the 8th of December. So if you only want to hear about the pilot script, I will not be offended in any way. I'm going to put a timestamp down in the comments, and if you go to that time, you'll skip over the retro react and you'll just see what I say about the leaked script for Generation Q. So no hard feelings. I'm going to start off with episode 4 and then obviously we'll go into the script at the end. And episode 4 is titled Longing. Watching it now, I felt as though it was a little bit fillery, but that doesn't happen too much on the L Word because it's not like Grey's Anatomy where we get 24 episodes a season. Unfortunately, you only get, generally with the original show, it was between 12 and 14 episodes, so they have to move the story along pretty quickly. But this episode, I feel as though it was tying off a lot of the loose ends from where they did, you know, a big, everything was happening in the pilot, those first 2 episodes. Episode 3, they kind of closed off, moved things forward a bit, like the thing with Dana and Laura started. So here they did shut off a lot of the storylines, like one being Shane and that girl, you know, they slept together again, it's done and over now. Also, they laid some firm groundwork for going forward as the season progresses, especially with Bet, her career, Bet and Tina, and Dana and Laura. So we start off, everybody's waking up, like Alice is waking up with Gabby and it's like, Alice, she's behind you, like sleeping with the enemy or whatever. So Alice and then Jenny wakes up with Tim, and the first like real scene is Jenny going to speak to Marina, and she basically explains to Marina that she's gonna marry Tim and things need to cool up between them. Obviously we know even if you hadn't seen the episode, or when you first saw it, you knew what was going to happen. Jenny obviously can't keep away from Marina and vice versa. Later on in the episode, Jenny is at home like cooking for Tim, and he's had a bad day. I think he says that this swim team's got like food poisoning, and the star, Trish, is on academic probation, so he goes to the planet in the evening to kind of blow off some steam, have a drink, ends up playing pool with Marina. And when Jenny calls his Nokia 3210, love that. Nokia 3210 was my first phone. Anyway, Jenny, when Marina picks up, she just like hangs up the phone and goes straight to the planet. And when she gets there, she sees Tim and Marina kind of like, I wouldn't say flirt, I'd say just being friendly. And Jenny actually faints in the middle of the restaurant bar and everybody's surrounding her, and Kit gets to say her like one line that episode. I think at this stage they kind of didn't know what to do with Pam Grier's character because she's pretty awesome. Kit is drinking during this episode like quite openly, like from a beer bottle, and Tina sees her, and then when Bet arrives, I'll talk more about them in a minute, Bet kind of says like, oh, why didn't you stop her? And Tina's like, it's not really my place to do that. So sometimes I forget when I think back, like I think back as Kit being sober like all the time. I forget that in season 1, you know, she was kind of still really like dealing with things and going through some stuff. Alice is also there with Shane, and Shane is still feeling the repercussions of Lacey, like putting up posters, handing things out, and like flyers and things. So Shane after this does sleep with Lacey again, and as I said before, you know, kind of ties off that loose end, but there's a lot of like jokes at Shane's expense. She comes in with like her hood up and sunglasses on, and Bet calls her the unicorn, which I thought was kind of funny. Alice, while they're in the planet that evening too, Gabby Deveaux comes in and she's got like a big group of people with her and treats Alice like shit. And of course, everyone's like, we told you this would happen, Alice. She's treating you like shit. Like, you need to do something. And when Gabby comes over to Alice's later, she kind of tries to weasel her way back in with like flowers and stuff. And Alice stands up for herself, and good for her. Hopefully she doesn't let Gabby carry on, treat her like shit. Obviously it's hard for her, but she was strong, so go Alice. The next day the group's having like a breakfast at the planet. Bet, Tina, Alice, Shane, Dana. Everyone's joking around with Dana, telling Shane that, you know, she needs to calm this girl down somehow. And Alice and Gabby, you know, they're trying to tell Alice to be strong. Bet and Tina in the scene, if you couldn't tell before, like you can see it a lot in the scene, that they're kind of the leaders of the group who everyone else looks to. They're the ones like doling out the advice, and it's a really cute the way they do it, because they just like, one will say half a sentence, the other says the other half, and they're just constantly like going back and forth like that, which again, why they're a great couple. But whenever I watch these early season 1 episodes, it does sink in like how underdeveloped Tina was as a character in the beginning. Like, she is just an extension of Bet, and everything is through Bet. Like, she just is Bet's wife. Like, we don't really know that much else about her apart from, you know, she's trying to get pregnant, and she used to be a movie producer, which they mention like once, and everything else, like, it's focused around Bet's work. Tina is very, you know, even when Bet's on the phone to like James, who I wish would come back in Generation Q for just a cameo or something, when Bet's on the phone to him, he's telling her like, oh, Franklin's really pissed and he tried to book Impressions in winter and you've cancelled it and blah blah blah. So while they're there, Bet like tells the group what's happening, and Alice is like, oh, Peggy Peabody, I know she's here spending 6 million on art and she's staying at blah blah. And Tina and Bet are like, how do you know this? And Alice says she overheard it at LA Magazine. So Bet immediately sees an opportunity, knows what hotel she's staying at, and goes to Peggy Peabody. And there's a great scene where Bet gets there and the guy, the concierge guy, says to her like, oh, you need the password. She's like, Shazam, which obviously is not it. But coincidentally, Peggy and her dogs are coming in. Bet figures out it's her, and Peggy was expecting someone else, so she thinks Bet's someone else, and she brings her up in the lift. And just Holland Taylor absolutely nailed this part. Like, she is fantastic. I love that she came onto the show so early. I love that she carried on playing this character throughout. She's amazing, just classy Hollywood. She's got a super hot wife too, Sarah Paulson, who is also an amazing actress in her own right. So talk about power couple. Peggy and Bet scenes are absolutely what make this episode by far. Like, they have the rarity that it is very rare that Bet gets to be funny and stuff. Like, they have the comment about Peggy saying, oh, I was a lesbian in 1974, and Bet says, just in 1974? Oh, that's a has-been. But Bet, whenever she is funny, is like hilarious. She has quite like a dry humor, and she's always really clever, like play on words and things. But they end up having a big discussion about art, and how I love how passionate Bet is about her work and things. And also Peggy shows her this photograph of one of Bet's favorite photographers, and Bet has like a very moving moment when she sees it, like she has tears. And Bet kind of asks Peggy, can she have the show of provocations? This is the first we hear mention of it in this episode. It's an ongoing theme for Bet throughout the season, this provocations tour and exhibit. So Bet kind of asks Peggy, can I have provocations, because it's gone to Mocha, which is one of her competitors. And Peggy kind of says, I hired this woman to do it and I'm not going to interfere because I know how annoyed you would be if someone interfered in your position, and we'll have to wait till next episode to see what happens there. This is a strong storyline of the season, and I love passionate art Bet. I think it's great. Jennifer Beals, again, I cannot say enough good about her acting, and even in these early episodes where she was just getting into the character, it's just fantastic. There is one little scene at the end that Tina has without Bet, where Tina goes to Jenny's studio in the back to speak to her, and Tina's just trying to be super nice, and I guess because she kind of knows in a way how it feels. She was dating her boyfriend whenever she met Bet, and I guess those feelings came up and things. So she tries to extend a hand to Jenny, and Jenny tries to lie in the beginning and basically say nothing's happening. But then eventually, you know, they have like a little discussion about it, and Tina's just trying to be nice to her and be there for her, but Jenny, as usual, it's not the easiest person to deal with. And we end the episode with Jenny not being able to stay away from Marina, and Jenny and Marina hooking up. So no surprises there. Next episode next week will be episode 5, so make sure that you will watch that. And as I said, I'm just going to briefly discuss the leaked season 1, episode 1 Generation Q script. I did read the whole thing, and the things that they changed were very interesting. My opinion, what happened is this script was done, because it even has a revisions date on it of the 31st of March. So Marja, the showrunner, and whomever else obviously wrote the script, did revisions, sorted it out. And most of the scenes that were changed, even if minutely, were all original character changes, except the scene where they meet Jose. I know we got shown in the trailers where Finley like runs back up and says he's gay, I checked, and that was never in the episode because they reshot that scene, as apparently it wasn't working completely right. And I believe they also reshot the proposal scene, but I think that was more just the entire thing wasn't working, not just the script. And even the scene with Bet and Angie at the end, there was some interesting changes in that, whereas the Bet part, like, she specifically is a bit harsher on Angie and even says a line in the leak script saying, I'm not your friend, I'm your mother. And there's also more information about Tina in that script. Nothing that we don't know by the end of the season. She says something along the lines, Bet says to Angie something along the lines of, oh, do you really miss her? Do you want to go and see her in Toronto? I'll book you a ticket. So my opinion on why they changed these things, there's also the scene where Alice, Bet and Shane are having lunch, and the scene before where Shane comes to Alice's show. This Shane and Alice part was a lot longer and included parts that were in the scene when Bet was there. So I think that Eileen Chaikin or Jennifer Beals, Alicia Haley, Kate Manning, like, I think that this was the script before they got it, and then when they got the script, because they know the characters so well, they know what's going on, they have thoughts, opinions, all of this, that I think the real script, the real shot and shown on TV is what we got after the rough draft of the script had been Jennifer Beals, Leisha Haley, and everybody got their opinions in it. Personally, it makes a lot more sense, certain things, especially the Bet and Angie scenes. So I'm hoping that that's the way we're going to move forward. That obviously that's what they're doing now when they're rewriting the script, that the originals are having their hands all over it. Eileen Chaikin too, because I know the reason she's not doing the show is because she has an exclusive deal with, I believe it's Fox. So hopefully she's still having her input, because you know, there's some great things about her, and then she also gave us Jenny, so I think that it is good to have her input knowing the characters so well. But Jennifer Beals, Leisha Haley, and Kate Manning, like, they are the key part of this, and as executive producers they do have that power now too. So basically that's what I think happened. Let me know what you think. I'm gonna leave a link to the leaked script down below in the description of the video, so if you want to go and read the whole thing, if you want to do a side-by-side comparison, if you want to read the original OG scenes and compare them to the ones that were shot, let me know if you agree with me or if you don't. As I said, next week is episode 5, so be sure to catch up then. If there's any more L Word content this week or anytime soon, I will of course do a video on it. If you have any thoughts about what you'd like to see on the channel or a suggestion for a video, please feel free to come onto my community tab and send me a post on there, or follow me on Instagram, the.ash.silver, and feel free to comment or send me a direct message on there, no problem at all. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you soon. Bye.